In almost all civilizations in the world's history, the gods have been considered to be connected to the mountains because they were believed to be the way to go to heaven in our world or to get close to it. There are many such stories in which they have been told the home of the gods. You may know that according to ancient stories, Mount Kailash is the residence of Lord Shiva. But you may not know that Mount Kailash is the world's largest mysterious mountain. Due to the presence of Lord Shiva, this place is considered to be one of the 12 Jyotirlingas. According to scientists, Mount Kailash is the center of the Earth. On one side of the Earth is the North Pole, and on the other side is the South Pole. The Himalayas are located in the middle of these two, and the center of the Himalayas is Mount Kailash. In today's video, we will tell you some such scientific facts and events, so that by the end of this video, you will be convinced that the existence of Lord Shiva is there. The biggest mystery of Mount Kailash is that despite all efforts, no mountaineer has ever reached the top of Mount Kailash. Today, climbing Mount Kailash is prohibited, but the attempts to climb Mount Kailash are not new. These attempts have been going on since the beginning of the 20th century. The last attempt to climb Mount Kailash is recorded as 16 years ago. In 2001, China allowed a team from Spain to climb Mount Kailash for the last time. But people from all over the world began to receive harsh criticisms who believed that Mount Kailash was a sacred place. The result of these criticisms was that Mount Rohan was completely banned on Mount Kailash. But this is not the reason why no one has ever climbed this mountain, because this ban was imposed 16 years ago. But before that, no one had ever been able to climb Mount Kailash. What could be the reason for this? Man has been attracted to the mountains for centuries. Regardless of any civilization, he has considered every peak in the world to be sacred, and in almost every civilization, he has been considered the home of all-powerful gods. Mount Olympus, Mount Kinabalu are also sacred in their respective areas. But the mountaineers did not stop at these mountains. It is true that it is not allowed to climb Mount Kailash, but this is also true that even if it was allowed to climb Mount Kailash, no mountaineer could climb this mountain. The biggest problem in climbing any mountain is the lack of oxygen. At different heights, the body has to cover itself according to the amount of oxygen in the air. In the environment, there is 21% oxygen at sea level. As the height increases from the sea level, the pressure of the air begins to decrease, and the amount of oxygen in the air also decreases. At an altitude of about 3,600 meters, the barometric pressure decreases. The height of Mount Everest is 8,848 meters, and the oxygen there is 2/3 less than the oxygen at sea level. Despite such difficult conditions, more than 4,000 people have conquered Mount Everest so far, and every year more than 800 people reach its peak. On the other hand, the height of Mount Kailash is 6,638 meters, which is less than Mount Everest. Despite this, no one has ever reached its peak. Despite having a better oxygen level than Mount Everest, people could not climb Mount Kailash, and whoever tried, they went astray. Mountaineers have said that while climbing Mount Kailash, the weather suddenly changes so much that they cannot move forward, and they have to stop their expedition. So now the question arises, what is the reason that no one has ever been able to climb Mount Kailash? Scientists who are looking for the answer to this question also do not have it. And if science does not have the answer to this, then should we believe what is written in our scriptures, that Lord Shiva still resides on Mount Kailash? So should we also believe that Lord Shiva uses Mount Kailash to live secretly among all of us, or to give direction to human civilization and help them when necessary? According to ancient stories, Lord Shiva is still present on earth. To believe this, we need to know about a true story, the story of a man who had seen Lord Shiva. And this man was not an Indian, but a British officer. This is when the British ruled India, and many British officers lived in India with their entire family. The Shiva Temple of Agra, Malwa in Madhya Pradesh is famous because whoever makes a wish in this temple with a pure heart, his wish is surely fulfilled. Also, this is the only temple in India that was inaugurated by a British. It is said that British Colonel Martin was stationed in Afghanistan to fight the war. He used to sell letters to his wife, who used to live in Malwa. This went on for many days, but suddenly Colonel Martin's letters stopped coming. Mrs. Martin's health was deteriorating in the hope of some miracle. Mrs. Martin used to pass by the Shiva temple of Malwa every day, and she used to see people praying here and worshiping with great devotion. Mrs. Martin also went to that temple and prayed to Lord Shiva that if her husband comes back from the war, he will make this temple prosperous. A few days later, Mrs. Martin had the same experience as every devotee who prayed here. Colonel Martin's letter came. What Martin had written in that letter, Mrs. Martin was stunned after reading it. Martin told her how the Afghan soldiers had surrounded her from all sides for many days. There was no hope of survival. But one day, wearing a lion's skin and holding a trident in his hand, a yogi saved the lives of the British soldiers from the clutches of the Afghans. Then Mrs. Martin also told her about her vow, but Martin thought it was just a coincidence. Later, when Martin returned to India, his wife took him to Lord Shiva's temple. What Martin told there was the most surprising. Martin saw Lord Shiva's photo and said that the man who saved him was the one in this picture. After this, he paid rupees 15,000 and got the temple renovated. Another place that depicts the universal existence of Lord Shiva is the Shivling of Amarnath, which is the center of faith of millions of Hindus. The surprising thing is that this Shivling is made of solid snow, but around this cave, you will find raw snow all around. Looking at this Shivling, one question arises in everyone's mind. After all, how does such a high snow Shivling naturally form in a cave at such a height? This Shivling is created by the dripping of drops of water from the roof of the cave. These drops are so cold that as soon as they fall down, they become solid in the form of snow. This snow takes the form of a huge, about 12 to 18 feet high Shivling. But according to science, it is necessary to have a temperature of about 0.5 degrees to freeze the snow. But the Amarnath Yatra begins every year in June-July. Then such a low temperature is not possible. Some researchers have argued that cold air flows from the cracks and small holes in the walls of the Amarnath cave. Due to this, snow freezes in the cave and around it and takes the shape of a Shivling. But no one has been able to prove this theory so far. And if this is the case, then many Shivlings should have been formed in this way. Whether God exists or not is a matter of debate. By the way, many people have had a unique experience of the existence of Lord Shiva and his existence. But we told you about the experience of a Western couple because we Indians are always attracted to Western people and their culture. But those who have faith in Lord Shiva, they do not need any proof. And those who will call all these events a coincidence, the more evidence they are given, the less it is. I hope you liked today's video. Do tell me your opinion by commenting below. Just make sure that no one's feelings are hurt. If you liked the video, do like it and share it with your friends. And to watch more such videos, subscribe to our channel. Thank you.